Good morning, everybody. Mr. Kennedy here. Today, we're going to be learning how to draw a rainbow dash.
All right, my friends. So to get started with our rainbow dash, the first thing we're going to do, towards the middle of my paper, but over on the left side, I'm going to start with a big circle. We want to make sure at home we're drawing lightly today because some of these lines we will be erasing, especially for this head. We're not going to end up keeping this whole circle. So don't worry about making it a perfect circle because again, we're not going to use this whole shape. Eventually we're going to erase some of it. So again, we want to draw lightly. The next thing I'm going to do is over here on the left side of my circle, not right in the middle, but kind of on the bottom half, I'm going to make a line that's going to come over to the right, and I'm going to wrap it around and end up making kind of like a weird little bean shape. So again, I'm going to bring this line down and to the left, and when I get a little bit past the edge of my head, I'm going to start to wrap that line around, kind of like I'm making a big oval shape. I want it to come back up. I'm going to bring it back down. I'm going to make a little loop back into our circle for our head. And let's just even this line out just a little bit. There we go. All right, the first thing we're gonna wanna do, or next thing for Rainbow Dash, is let's come up towards the top half of on the left side of our circle now, a little bit higher up from where we made that line coming down for her body. Now, instead, we're gonna make a line that's gonna curve up to kind of make a little point for her ear. We're only gonna see one of her ears because she's gonna be kind of turning her head. So I'm gonna make a line that's gonna curve just a little bit, and it's gonna come up, and then I'm gonna take the end of that line and curve it back down into my circle line. So you'll notice it goes just a little bit inside of that circle. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna erase that little bit of circle in between where I made the lines for her ears. And I'm gonna give her just one little tiny detail. We're gonna put a little line right next to the left side of her ear. Next, I like to start with her eye. Again, because she's kind of turning her head, one eye is gonna be bigger than the other. So let's start with that first big eye that we're gonna see. So right here on the left side of her face, again, we wanna start with a very large oval. We're gonna be putting a few others inside of this. So it's gonna help if we get this oval nice and big. She also has three little eyelashes coming off the end of this eye. So we'll put three little curved lines at the top and kind of going to the left. Now inside of this oval, I'm gonna do a few things. First, I'm gonna draw kind of like a letter C shape that's gonna kind of come out the bottom of my eye. It's gonna go up and into the right side. Right next to that, I'm gonna make a little oval, kind of like it's floating in the middle. And I'm gonna draw now another line that's gonna come up, kind of like a lowercase letter R, that's gonna start here on the bottom. It's gonna come into that oval I just made, and I'm gonna imagine it comes out the other side and into the side of her eye shape. Last, we're gonna draw a teeny tiny little circle inside that, underneath that space we just made. Now, eventually, we will color in this space kind of a violet-y color. But in here, this space, underneath this little oval and this tiny circle are gonna stay white. Those are gonna be like the light catchers. But the rest of the bottom half of this shape, I will eventually color in black. And so I'll do that now so I don't forget. Again, I'm leaving that tiny little circle and this oval white. All right, let's come back up to the top of her ear. So right here, right where we have this circle touching our ear line, we're gonna make the start of her hair. So to do that, we're gonna make a curved line that's gonna go around this first eye we made, just like that. Now let's give it kind of like we're giving a little spike to it. We'll come back in, but not too far. Notice I'm not even going past her first eye. It's still staying right inside that circle shape. Next, let's bring this line back out. We're gonna curve it, kind of almost like we're making a smile line. And this one's gonna be the longest one. We're gonna bring this out actually outside of our circle. So notice it's kind of sticking out just a tiny bit. Then again, kind of like I'm making a spike, I'm gonna give a little point to that line. And now this hairline, we're gonna bring this back up. Let's curve it, almost like it's following the curve of our circle. And when it gets pretty close to the top, not touching the top, we'll stop. And let's give her one more hair spike. This one, again, will kind of come to the very edge of our circle. And we can actually use the top of our circle now to follow the top of this hair shape. And we're right at the top, so right when I'm at kind of the top of my circle now, I'm gonna give her one last hair spike that's gonna kind of go outside of our circle. And now, once I give her that little spike, I just wanna bring this line into my ear. I'm just curving it around back into where my ear is. And if I want, I can also now erase this little line, this little tiny bit where the top of her head is that was behind her hair. And what we'll actually do is we're gonna put two lines in the middle of her hair now for when we color it. Because Rainbow Dash, obviously, she's relatively rainbow colored and her hair is gonna be rainbow colored. So we're gonna just put two lines in her hair right now in her face to help us decide later where we're gonna make the different colors end. So there's two lines. I didn't put them right on the end of her hair spikes, kind of put them right in the middle. All right, next. You'll notice this one, this first kind of stripe in her hair, ends right here, right next to her first eye. What I'm gonna do, not connecting to this line, but right next to it, I'm gonna make a little line that's gonna curve down and over to the side of her face, or that circle shape we made. When it gets kind of close, I wanna, kind of like I'm making a round triangle, I'm gonna bring or a backwards letter C even, I'm gonna bring the end into the bottom of my circle. Now I'm going to do a little bit of erasing. I'm going to erase a tiny bit of this circle that's connecting to her body, but not the whole thing. I still want a little bit of line to show the bottom of her head, but I also want to show her head connected to her body. So I'm just going to erase this teeny bit of line. I'm also going to erase the rest of this circle shape that goes outside of this hook, because that's going to be kind of the end of her face. So again, you can see we didn't keep that whole circle we drew in the very beginning. We've changed it quite a bit. So let's give her her other eye. So again, this one's gonna be kind of look smaller because we're not seeing the whole eye, partially because she's turning her head and her hair is in the way. But I'm gonna make just kind of right next to where this eye would be, on the outside of this curve shape, I'm gonna make a little half circle. And it's just, I'm not really making a whole half circle, just making a little curved line that connects this side of her nose into the bottom of her hair. Now, let's draw a little oval, or part of an oval at the top. This oval is gonna be the same as this oval. That's the same light catcher. And right underneath it, we'll draw a tiny little circle. Again, that tiny circle is supposed to be the same as this one, which means this teeny little space will leave blank right now, and we can color in the space around these two circles, but making sure to leave them both white. All right, we're almost done with her face. Let's put a little curve line right here for her nose, or her nostril, I should say, I guess. And we're gonna put another curve line, slightly bigger, coming out of the bottom of her face here to give her a little mouth. Make sure she's smiling. All right, we're almost there. There's two last things we're gonna do for her hair to finish up the hair on top of her. Almost like I'm imagining this line now going through the back of her ear. I can imagine there's a little bit of hair that's gonna appear on this side. So I'm just gonna make almost like a half oval shape that's going to go around the bottom of her head and a little bit into her body. Again, I'm just gonna make a little curve line inside of that to help me decide where we're gonna change the colors in her hair later. So we'll have two colors on the back side here. We're also gonna have two little spikes coming down on the underside of her head. And we're gonna have them cover up this line. So right underneath her nose, let's draw a little line that's gonna come down. And let's bring it back over, but not connecting it to the bottom of her face. And let's give one more little hair spike, but a little bit smaller. And this one we will bring into the bottom of her head. We can erase a little bit of that line of what would be her shoulder. Just like that. All right, so now let's work on her wing. First, let's do her wing. So right kind of where this first hair spike is, a little bit underneath that, I'm gonna make a curve line. I'm gonna, kind of like I made a big letter C. Now I wanna bring this line all the way towards the back side of her, but I want it to kind of look like an oval shape that's gonna have a little point. So almost like I'm stopping my oval early, I'll make a top half to it. And now this line I'm curving, I'm not gonna make it touch that letter C shape where I started this, her wing. I want it to stop a little bit beforehand to show that her wing is connected to her body. Now she does have some design on her wing, so we're not done yet. Right here, let's make kind of a backwards letter C. Let's make an even bigger one that's more like a half circle. So notice this one's going back even further. And now let's make one more letter C shape to bring it into the bottom of our wing. And now kind of on the side of each of these little bumps, we're gonna make a straight line that's gonna go into the edge of her wing. And again, this is gonna be to help us color her wing later on. And just making her body a little bit bigger here. All right, there we go. So now what we really need to do is we need to give her a tail and her 4 legs. But because of the way she's standing, we're really gonna see 2 legs and then a little bit of the legs on the other side of her. So right about a little bit to the left of where we started her wing, we're gonna make a line that starts inside of her body and it's gonna go outside, and this line is going to curve a little bit. Oop, I'm not curving quite enough. I want to curve backwards a little bit. Just a little bit. Now it's a little too much. All right, let's give a little, almost like a smile line, because we want this line to curve too. And now we're gonna make another curved line, this same curved line, to bring the bottom of our foot back into her body. One thing you might notice is that her leg looks thinner up top where it's going into her body, and looks wider at the bottom where her, like the bottom of her foot would be. And we're gonna erase this little tiny bit of her body line in between this arm to show that it is connected. The other front leg, we won't do that for. So for that one, we're gonna come a little bit in front of this line where we started this line. And very similarly, we wanna bring a line down that's gonna curve just a little bit. But we're not gonna bring it all the way down to the same distance as this foot. This one we want to end a little bit earlier to show that it's a little bit further away from us. And again, we're gonna do a little curve line. And just like that, how we bring it into the front of her foot, her first foot we drew, that's all we're gonna do for that leg. Now for her first back leg. Similar to how we made the front one, we're gonna start this one a little bit behind her wings. So where the rainbow, where the stripes are right now, that's about where we, a little bit past that is where we wanna start this back leg. So again, you'll notice this line is starting inside of her body shape again. Let's bring it down and curving it just a little bit. We want this one to be roughly the same length as the first leg we drew. Again, we're gonna give a little smile line for the bottom of her foot. And now this line is gonna be a little bit different. This one, it's gonna be first like a big backwards lowercase letter R. So I'm gonna come up, kind of, again, curving just a little bit. And once I get about this point, a little more than halfway up her leg, I'm gonna curve in, just like that, giving that little, almost, again, like a lowercase letter R. Now, but I'm not gonna have that R touch the edge of this leg. Instead, I'm gonna stop it kind of right there in the middle, and I'm gonna make a line that's gonna come back out, and I'm gonna bring this into I'm gonna curve it back into kind of the back side of our rainbow dash. And again, we'll erase this little bit of line that separates our body from our leg. Next, let's do her other leg. So again, we're not gonna see a lot of this one. So we'll make a line similar to it's almost gonna be exactly like we did for this leg. So we're gonna make a little line that's gonna curve down. Again, we don't wanna bring it the same length. We want to stop early to show it's further away from us. And we'll make a little smile line to bring it into that side of that leg. Now, let's give her a tail. So kind of coming right out of not the tallest point on her back, but a little bit lower than that, we're gonna make a line that's gonna come out. Let's bring it, I want it actually to curve a little more. Let's curve it up. And again, we'll give her one hair spike right here at the top, not going past her body. Now let's give her another one that's gonna come down a lot further. This one's gonna be almost to the bottom of her legs. Or at least this middle part of her leg. Again, we'll give it a little spike. Now this last one, we're gonna come all the way down to the bottom of her feet. And this one we're gonna curve a lot. Notice it's almost, right now, it's kind of lining up her feet, but it's going in the opposite direction, so it's kind of like it's dragging on the floor a little bit. She has a very long tail. But again, let's curve that line back up. Let's give one more tiny little tail spike or hair spike at the bottom here. We're bringing our line back up, and we'll do one last one, kind of right next to that curve we did in her leg. Again, now this line we're just going to bring back up into not where we started her tail, but a little bit next to that, a little bit lower. Just like that. And again, we're going to want to put a few lines in her tail now to help us decide where we're going to put those colors later. So I'm going to start here at the top where I have this curve for her hair. And really, I just want to make a series of lines that are going to come down on her tail. Really, I just want about 5 lines. That'll give me 6 colors that I can, or 6 spaces to fill in with my colors. And that'll be the 6 colors of the rainbow. Or at least a really basic rainbow. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we need one more line. Oops, actually I'm gonna need 2 more lines. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. We'll have just a little bit of purple at the end. All right, and that is our rainbow dash. Now we're ready to trace, erase, and color. If you would like to pause the video here at home, you can to match the same colors, but you do not have to.
I hope you guys had fun drawing Rainbow Dash with me today. I hope you guys stay safe, you keep drawing, and I'll see you next time.